Dana Falk, the Hungry Fan, and welcome to part 2 of your Super Bowl adventure. And by that I mean making yummy food that's also good for you for your Super Bowl party. Today we're making the Good Fat Philly Cheesesteak. What is that? Why do I call it the Good Fat Philly Cheesesteak? Well, when you think of a Philly cheesesteak, you've got meat, you've got cheese, and then everything else. And yeah, those can be kind of fattening. However, today we're cooking with grass-fed ribeye and organic Monterey Jack cheese. They're both nice and healthy, therefore I consider them to be good fat. This recipe can be found on my website, so please feel free to follow along. So to start the cheesesteak today, we're going to make the spread that's going to go on the bread. We're making a garlic aioli, which is basically just a fancy term for mayonnaise. All it is I've got some egg yolks in the bowl, I've got cayenne pepper, lemon, and I've got garlic that I've minced. Now you can use as much garlic as you'd like. I really like mine garlicky, so I use a bit more. I've got about 4 cloves of garlic here. You just give a good squeeze. Get some lemon juice in there. I'm just going to combine everything in a bowl. And with the olive oil helps to provide the consistency that you need to make it more mayonnaisey. So you're going to add it as needed. I'm just going to start with a few drops right now. But as you whisk or blend your mayonnaise or your aioli, you'll need to add olive oil as you go along. So I've got this fancy handheld blender. You can just as easily do this with a whisk. I just like my tools. So you're just going to give it a blend. Alright, so it's thickened up. Consistency is good. So I'm going to just unplug this and detach. Put this in the sink. Okay, so let me give this a quick taste. Oh, it's really good. Alright, I'm going to put this aside for now, and we're going to get working on our sandwich. So, next step, we're going to saute the vegetables that are going to go on top of our cheesesteaks. So what I've done is I've heated up a couple tablespoons of olive oil in this skillet. I'm going to start with green bell peppers. I've sliced them the long way. Oops. And they're going to cook. I'm going to give them a little black pepper and a tiny, tiny, tiny pinch of salt. The salt draws out the moisture and helps the veggies caramelize better. Okay, so the peppers have been going for a couple minutes. They're starting to cook up real well. I'm going to add the onions and just cook the two together in the skillet. You don't necessarily need to add more salt or pepper. It's already in the skillet. See that? Yummy, caramelized, and done. Take it off heat. Give it a good whiff. We're going to put them in a bowl, put them aside. Now, next step. Very easy. I bought some ribeye. As I mentioned, it's grass-fed, which means these cows were not fed corn. And I won't get into all of that now, but on my website you can find out why it's better to eat grass-fed beef. I've already had the butcher slice the meat for me. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it, I'm actually going to turn the heat back on. Really wasn't a need to turn it off. I'm going to stick it in the skillet, which is already hot. You don't need to cook it in olive oil or butter or anything else because there's already fat on this meat. And it will cook really well in its own fat. So once we get the meat going, we're going to add a couple teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce and we're going to stir it around. You could also, before you put the meat in the skillet, put the meat and the Worcestershire sauce in a Ziploc bag and give it a good shake and then stick it in. Either way, it's pretty much the same thing. You just want to coat the meat in the Worcestershire. Okay, so the meat's all done. It really doesn't take very long to cook. I like mine medium rare. I have been toasting a bun under the broiler. Whoop. Oh, all ready to go. You can always use a toaster. I like my buns gluten-free. I don't eat gluten, but you can always use a regular bun if you'd like. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few pieces. Well, actually not. First, I'm only going to hit myself. I'm going to take the aioli and I'm going to spread it on the bun. You can do one side, you can do two sides, it's up to you. I'm just going to do one, but give it a nice generous portion. And now I'm going to put the meat on the bun. Yummy. So, looks good. I can't wait to try this. Oh, pardon my fingers. Alright. And then I've got my peppers and onions. Now, I have cheese. You don't have to use cheese, obviously it's a Philly cheesesteak. I've got Monterey Jack here, which if you just lay it over the meat, it'll melt. Because this meat's really hot. It's a very generous portion. Peppers. Oh my goodness. I like to use tongs. Very hot. And then you can just sort of punch it together. Here you go. Big old sandwich. Just like that. Kind of drippy. And I'm going to give it a taste. It looks really good. I'm Super Bowl ready. I'm also ready to finish this sandwich, so I'm going to let you go. Follow along. Find my recipe on my recipe page on my website. See you soon.